Isn't that snazzy? Our new intro video. Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Alan Levine from Open Education Global. Very excited to bring with you one of our OEWeek live webcasts that we do for Open Education Week. And we'll have 12 of them scheduled next week. But I thought it'd be really interesting and fun because Open Education Week, some people say like, oh, I'm not doing anything March 3rd to March 7th. Like, the semester's opening, we're too busy. Well, you can do it anytime, okay? And we're open, and that's what this means. And so I was very pleased, and I've been wanting to be able to have this session for a long time with our colleagues from the Polimi. Oh, I'm gonna mess up the name, but from live from Milano. And very excited to have Paola Corti, who's also one of our board members, and her colleague Luca Tantimanico, who's going to tell us about this amazing MOOC. So first of all, we have to say welcome to the studio, and just say hello and tell us where you're beaming in from. Where are you broadcasting from?
Okay, thank you, Alan, for having us. Ciao a tutti. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Paola Corti, as Alan said, and I'm based in Monza now. You are in my living room. Actually, this is my home. And I work together with Luca at METID, the Learning Innovation Unit of Politecnico di Milano, in Milano. And Luca, it's your turn now.
Hello, my name is Luca, and I am a visual designer in METID, Politecnico. My main work is making videos, and I live in Lecco, near Milano, and okay.
Fantastic, and we're really excited to hear your input on this project because like Paula can talk big and global, and she's very excited about it. And it's really good to have one of the people here who worked on her with this project. So where do we begin? That this OER102 MOOC that the Polimi Open Knowledge is offering this new one as an introduction to open education. How did this come about?
So first of all, we had a first MOOC on open education, and the title was Using OER in Teaching. It was one of the first, well, actually it was the first MOOC that we released with an open license. We were trying to learn about open education, and we invited in that MOOC a lot of guests from the open education community who very kindly spent time with me recording videos to share about their experience and advocating for open. That's how I learned how to be one of the many open education practitioners in the world. And lately, we had this opportunity to rethink the way we suggest innovating education in Polimi, okay? So our unit is usually supporting the staff in Polimi to enhance their teaching skills. And which means that we used to be, let's say, mostly focused internally, okay, to support innovation in teaching. With a specific attention to learning practices for students. And as part of this overall objective that we have as a Learning Innovation Center, we continuously focused on open education as one of the ways to innovate, mostly through open practices. So that's why we decided to design a new MOOC as part of the MOOCs for Teachers series that we have in our Polimi Open Knowledge platform. And this is why we decided to, let's say, experiment a little. We had this opportunity to focus on openness again, through also some fundings that we received at the national level, okay? Because we are part of a bigger project that involves many universities around Italy. And it was also an opportunity for us to advocate for more open education with our partners because some of them know about it, some others are beginners. So in a way, it was also our intention to support their learning path through us, or with us, even better. So that's how it started. And then when we decided to do the MOOC, I asked our managing director, Susanna Sancassani, if there was any chance for us to experiment widely, and widely, I would say, because what I asked her to do, and she, luckily for me, I don't know for Luca, she said yes. She said it's okay to experiment about it, and I said I'm going to ask our team to somehow completely make a revolution around the process of developing a MOOC. Because we want to have reusers in mind as our first target. So the intentional choice we made was to redesign the whole MOOC process in order to enable reusers, meaning anyone can now adapt widely this MOOC in every single file with only open source software and with a very low level of technical skills required.
Right. So it means more than the course being open, that it can be exported and used elsewhere. It's the raw materials behind it. So
yes.
So I want to ask Luca, like, what was the reaction from the team when this idea first came in from Paula?
It's a challenge because I use another software, and open software is very simple, but open software have a limitation, and it is a measure difficult to work with open software.
And I think we're going to get a chance to see the it's open shot that you used for video, which later we'll get to see a little bit of demo. I'm very curious to see it because I know about it, but I've not used it myself. But it says a lot about, like, it's one thing to design a very well designed course that has very good materials and very good video, where audience is to deliver the content. But this is also, if I'm paraphrasing, it's designed to make the whole course something that someone can modify and reuse.
Yes, definitely, because the intention here is to offer the learning path that we thought and that we designed with our audience in mind, right? And how limited can be our look on the world from Italy, in Milano. We can imagine some of the needs that we can answer through the MOOC materials locally, and maybe widening the landscape as far as we can with some of the examples. But still, what do we know about the specific needs of a different community based in another region of the world with a completely different context? So that was part of our starting point. We wanted also the structure of the MOOC to be as flexible as possible, to be adapted with the different examples, with different resources and practices exemplified. Okay, because they might resonate better for different audiences, and why should people use ours? So that was the intention.
Okay, well, I used the metaphor before earlier when we were talking. This is a fancy, well, it's a nice looking, beautiful vehicle. It's a nice new car, and we're going to go take it for a test drive. So can we take a look at the MOOC, and so we can see what's been put into this? Yes,
happy to. So if you want to share the link to the MOOC, am I already sharing my screen?
Yes, okay, yes. Right now.
So this is this is the Polymio Open Knowledge homepage. And if I go to my dashboard, I can quickly select our MOOC. I wanted just to point you very, very briefly to the image that our colleague Chiara chose for this MOOC. This is a wheel used for children to play, right? So it's a very good example of reuse and repurpose.
It's a swing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Kids they go back and forth, and it never gets old. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and also it's a wonderful way to repurpose a resource that was meant to satisfy other needs, but then becomes useful, in this case, just for fun. Right. So if we look at the main course content, and I think that Alan will share the link to this MOOC with you.
Yeah.
The title of the MOOC is Enhancing Education Through Open Opportunities. It is structured with 4 weeks of content. It has an ideal workload at the beginning, as in every other MOOC that you can encounter. The first week zooms into open educational practices in specific educational practices, which are always, as Catherine Cronin taught us, situated, okay, so related to a specific context and a specific audience. But then we also try to zoom out and look at the global effort that is done to build more resources, policies, and practices around open education. And then we wanted also to critically look at open education once again. Why is open education important? And also why now, in this moment of our human history, with all the challenges that are our priorities in different contexts, and also at the higher education level. And then we have the final week. Sorry, Alan, go back.
No, on that point, I'm just thinking that the first MOOC, if I understand right, was pre-pandemic. So
yes.
And so I imagine all that's happened in the world has factored into this section, so it's very current.
Yes. If I can only look back at what Merlot offered, for example, as one of the major repositories that we can all benefit from, and how far they made an effort to make it better during the pandemic to offer more resources to anyone, it's amazing what happened there.
Okay.
So, as I said at the beginning, we had this opportunity to develop this MOOC thanks to fundings coming from our Ministry of University and Research, which was a wonderful opportunity. And the intended learning outcomes that you see here listed as every other MOOC that we have in our platform, and we have 140 MOOCs in Polymi Open Knowledge now, most of them openly licensed. They always come with this ESCO skill link that takes you directly to a European tool, European Commission tool that helps you write your resume, telling specifically which skills you acquired and how. Okay, so we try to connect to other tools that are relevant for the adult audience, not only for the students when they are younger. There are no prerequisites to explore the MOOC, and I will then immediately take you to the first week. Every week has a specific list of intended learning outcomes, and then you can move freely in the MOOC. There is no required order for you to explore. We wanted it to be widely open also in the approach that you can take, because if you are already an expert in open education or you know some of the practices, you might just want to point to those that you don't know yet. Otherwise, you can follow the learning path and go from the beginning to the end, and also take all the exercises, which are usually not mandatory. But if you want to have a certificate of accomplishment, at the end of each week, you have a quiz that you can take to receive at the end your certificate, if you want to. So, for example, if we go through the first week, we have, of course, some of the resources that come with a video, and some other resources come with a text. An example that I wanted to show you, maybe more specifically, is an example of us reusing existing resources. We didn't want only to talk about reuse. We wanted to practice it and to show by example that it is doable, even when it comes with small challenges. So, for example, in the case of this video about open licensing, who better than Creative Commons knows how to talk about licensing? So what we did was to create a video where I sorry, I removed the audio, where I introduce briefly the context and also resources like this map about the duration of copyright around the world. But then we move to the anatomy of a license that was developed. It's a part of a video shared by Creative Commons directly. So we embedded it. They explain the resources, and then at a certain point, I jump in again, just closing up. Okay, so this is the approach that we adopted because we wanted really to showcase what you can do with educational resources when they come with a license. Okay, and then okay.
I'm just fantastic, and I know we'll get into seeing how the videos work, but more or less, like if I was to do this, I could make use of all the things you have in the video, the clips from Creative Commons, but I could create my own spoken introduction. Not that I want to replace, I don't want to replace Paula Corti because she's so valuable, but we could add to it as well to localize it.
Well, actually, the invitation is to replace me. Because when I'm in the video and I speak in English, first of all, you might have a better English than mine, first. Secondly, if you are speaking, I don't know, Swahili, and you are based in Africa, why should you listen to a video in English if you can replace a white woman from Italy with your image or the image of someone in your institution that represents your community better? And why not to change all the examples that we shared from the global north if you can bring examples that you know better and that can speak to your community from the global south? So in this MOOC, you have examples from everywhere, okay? But why not? You can think about reducing the content, focusing more on some specific issues. And that's why we designed a template that in our mind was meant, let me see if I can take you there. For example, yes, let me go there because this is not one of the projects that come from Europe. This comes from the United States. En-ROADS is a project created by Climate Interactive, which is a spin-off of MIT. And it is a simulator that helps you test the consequences of your actions and your strategies in order not to increase the planet temperature, okay, in 2100. Okay, so you can explore. And this comes with this. Most of the resources, also the teaching resources related to this simulator, come with a CC BY license. So why not to reuse them? So, and we structured this template that navigates the resources that we are suggesting to explore through 3 questions: what, who, why, the link to the resource, and the explanation of the license. So briefly, in the what, you find the title, the description of the resource, and a comment about it coming from the content of the website itself. Right. Then we point to the authors and the collaborators who created the resource, because we want to attribute whichever the license. We are very happy to let authors and co-creators be known. And then we somehow share why the resource can be important and how you can use it somehow. And then you have the link to the resources, of course, but you also have an explanation of the license, and a link to the user guide, which is a very interesting resource shared by Climate Interactive, and a brief list of the permissions. This is the scheme and the template that we applied to all the resources that we talk about in the MOOC. So it's a very simple structure because, again, having reusers in mind, we wanted to make their life easy in changing the resource and quoting other people's resources, okay? And their own resources, why not? If they are good enough, why not? See, so that's what we did.
I'm already gaining something. I have not seen this En-ROADS Interactive, and I already have it open in a tab to return to later because it looks fantastic.
It's a fantastic resource, I can tell you. And also the educational materials can be really engaging. And I've been one of the people who benefited from this resource in discussing how to talk about climate change with the PhD students. Look at that. And they also had more skills than I had to play with the tool itself. And it is also research-based, so it's
Right.
very reliable, and it's very important to have educational resources that are reliable, most of all nowadays. So you also have exercises here and there that, as I said, don't come with any mandatory activity or they don't prevent you to move forward if you want to skip them. But we wanted to add them anyway, and some of them are reflective. Some of them invite you to look at art as inspirational for you to frame your vision about open education or education more broadly. Also being inspired by art pieces from authors that are around the world. So it comes with a variety of opportunity.
So sorry, I'm going to interrupt. Just because I'm really fascinated. So the exercises are more or less an activity that one chooses to do on their own. It's not anything that's graded, but if I was teaching, I might organize a discussion around this or ask students to create artifacts. But that's not part of the MOOC itself. This is a suggestion of something you can do to see this concept in action.
Yes, but they also come, for example, we have this exercise that is based on licenses. And when it comes to technicalities, you need to memorize the deeds, you need to play with them, you need to understand how to call what. So it's important to vary a lot. And we offered exercise, a lot of them, to play with the licenses, but also to play with the remix. Because in our practice in Polimi, and Luca can tell you a lot about it, it's quite challenging sometimes to remix resources. Most of all, if you are creating a video, it is very limiting to deal with some of the most restrictive licenses, even if they are still open. Okay, but it comes with challenges because some of them are incompatible. So it's better, in our view, to keep them as open as possible, of course. But then you do what you have, and also with the let's say the limitations or the request of the context you are working in. We've been exploring in Polimi with all sorts of licenses with our MOOCs, and all of them made sense for the contextual needs of the MOOC. I always quote as an example another MOOC that we have, which is entitled Embracing Diversity. And given the sensitivity of the topic, the teacher didn't want to use a different license apart from CC BY and CND, which is fine because it's the first step, okay? And it's fine also if you can't remix it with anything else. Who knows, if we ask that teacher to reuse and remix one of his video, he might be willing to give us specific permission anyway, which is always something that we try to do. And again, Luca knows, because this is my last answer. There's no license. Okay, can we ask for a specific permission? Let's write an email. Let's explain how we are intending to reuse the resource, that it is for educational purposes. Let's see what they say. And actually, most of the time they say yes.
I am so glad you're saying this because, well, I'll prelude next week during Open Education Week on, I think it's Thursday. We're having a group of CC certificate facilitators, and I want them to share the tricky questions about using licenses. And this was one of mine that I don't think people really consider this an option, to just ask, because usually a lot of people say like, oh, it's copyright or it's no derivatives, I can't use it. And I know too from experience, when you write someone who created something, they're so honored and pleased to know that someone finds their work valuable. And I can't remember too many times someone said no, for explaining why it should be reused.
Yeah, not only that, but it's also an opportunity to advocate for the licenses and for open education or openly shared resources more broadly. I had more than one encounters with artists who didn't know about the licenses, but once I told them the story of the licenses and why I was inviting them to share pictures of their artwork openly, they totally understood the advantage also for them to be known for their work. Not only, I mean, it's beneficial for both in a way.
And just on these exercises, I'm not going to like ask us to do it now, but you submit your results and it just gives you instant feedback on what you got.
Yes, you receive.
It's not like a test in any way. It's just to practice your understanding.
Exactly. And you can retry again and again, and you receive a feedback that at the beginning doesn't guide you immediately to the right answer. So you can attempt again, but then you have the feedback that tells you which is the correct answer. Okay. And I will go back to this when we show the resources that we are sharing openly. So just to close this first overview of the MOOC, which is a MOOC as any other MOOC, okay? It has videos, it has texts, it has quizzes, exercises, images, every kind of format, till week 3. Then in week 4, and of course, if you're interested in the content, you can jump back and forth to every resource that interests you in different moments of your working life or your instructional design activities. But then there's a 4th week that focuses on reusers. And in the 4th week, we have, let me go to the index again so that I can give you a very brief overview of that part. You have in week 4, us, meaning me as an instructional designer, Luca Tantimonaco as a video designer, the other Luca, who is not with us today, but is largely as a co-author of this MOOC, who focused on the graphic design. And we share the behind the scenes, okay? And also the challenges and some tips and tricks to support reusers do their part. So you have every detail here, but now I will leave the floor to Luca so he can tell you more before we show you what we shared in the end, maybe.
Okay. As a visual designer and video designer, the main challenge was to try to make the videos reusable for anyone. And by anyone, we mean even people with not expertise in video production. For this reason, we had to leave our working process based on software like Adobe Premiere and change everything about our production process. The first part of the work focusing on finding the video editing software that was simple and usable for everyone. We choose an open software and we choose OpenShot. We explored its potential and understood its limitation. Once we understood what we could do with OpenShot, we designed the best solution to make the project reusable for anyone. Could create their own video course. The next step in the next task was to work how to insert the graphic into the videos and for reuse and simplicity. For again, reuse and simplicity were the key point of the project, and so we decided to implement the graphic the graphics by creating a PowerPoint presentation. But a PowerPoint is not an open program, and so we use LibreOffice, that the open version of PowerPoint. But LibreOffice is has less possibilities and function that PowerPoint. Then quindi we creating a presentation template that anyone can modify simply, can modify language, text, image, or change any element simply, and by saving the presentation, the image, single image of the presentation, creating a own version of video. This is oversimplified.
Oh, I understand. Because I mean, like, rarely, even when you use like high-end video software, you almost never are able to share the source files because they're complex, they're big. You know, I've even tried to do something collaboratively with iMovie, and that was nearly impossible. And so to be able to have all the elements that you need to do a video is really, I can commend you for being able to pull this off. And as well, by using LibreOffice, which is my favorite desktop software, you're also sharing them in open file formats too.
Yes, that's what we did. Look, if you want, I can show Zenodo now. What do you think?
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
or do you want,
or
maybe OpenShot and the examples of the
yes.
files, right? Let's start there. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm happy to share with you what we did. So just an example, okay? Let's take, this is one of the, let's start directly from the downloaded version, okay? And then I will show you where to download it. So when you download we shared the whole MOOC, okay? All the editable files, as Alan was just pointing a minute ago, which came with challenges because we wanted to reduce the weight as far as possible of each video, but not to share a very low definition version of them, okay? So we had to compromise. All the process was a compromise here, okay? All the process. And you will see this directly. So once you download your whole MOOC zip, and then we will talk also about those as a challenger, you have this structure. You have a README file that takes you, here it is, step by step through each, sorry for the underline because it takes Italian, of course, and you see this as if it was full of mistakes, but it is not. So you have the instructions to go through the whole MOOC archive step by step, and you know where is what for each file and each folder, okay? And this is just something that guides you to reuse the whole set of information. And then you have the course description, again, which is the same course description that you have in the MOOC, okay? Because you might want to rewrite it. You might have different learning outcomes in mind. You might want to cut part of it or enlarge it. Who knows? It's up to reusers. We also shared the index, and maybe Luca, we will come back to that in a moment. Also, the index comes in an open format that is a table with links. Let me see if I can open it now. Otherwise, I will talk about this a bit later, because I don't know if yes, I can. Let me see. I can open it.
Okay.
Okay. You have everything. You have also the if we are talking about which is the week, which is the lesson number. If it is a video, a text, a video, an exercise, you have the title, you have the code number that leads you to the resources that you then have into the folders. Okay, so you can rebuild everything, and this is very similar to what we use internally. The only missing information here is the link that we used to have to the specific resource and the storyboard for that resource. Okay, but it is here. You can edit it, and it can help you really recreate your own version of the MOOC. Okay, it's part of the zip file, and then you have the content of each week. Okay, so for example, if I go to week 1 and I want to show you, Alan, you have a question.
No, I'm saying wow a lot, because the level of what you've created is
we
incredible.
shared everything.
Yeah.
So we were talking about open licensing a minute ago, right? The video where we reused the part of the Creative Commons video. Okay, in that case, for example, the video was shared on YouTube with a CC BY license, but we didn't have the high resolution copy. So we asked, of course it's Creative Commons, so they were happy to know that we were willing to reuse, and they shared the high resolution version of the video. But this required us additional time, okay? That's what we are trying to avoid here. Sharing the project of each video. So you see, you have the storyboard of the video. So this is what I said, okay? This is what we developed in advance, and then we go to the recording studio with this text on the screen, on the prompter, so that I can read it through and avoid, when I can, making big mistakes. But of course, everyone can adapt. Everything comes with a CC BY license. Okay, and then going back to the folder, you have these folders that, of course, in the README file are explained one by one, but you also have the slides that have been used within the video. Okay, so for example, of course, we had to simplify the format, of course, because we wanted to enable editing the keywords, and we didn't find a better solution than this. So if anyone who is listening or rewatching this recording in the future finds a better way to enable reusers edit the keywords in videos, let us know. We are happy to learn from your experience. So you see that you can change everything here: the colors, the background, the content. I've been showing you this before. And then we have this white window is the hole in the screen where the recorded person goes. Okay, it's like a mask, but it's empty when you use it. And this is the part where we adapted, and you see this in the note at the base here, at the bottom. Sorry. You see the adapted from the title of the video, the link to the video, because who knows, someone might want to reuse the slides separately. So it's better for them to have also the complete adaptation here. Okay. So this is another piece of it. And while we are talking, I now see that, for example, this has to be resized a bit. Look at this. You never finish. Okay, because of course it's a complete attribution statement with title, attribute, author, source, and license, right? It follows the lead of Creative Commons teaching us how to properly attribute, and you have links to everything. Okay, and then there's an explanation about how to choose the license, etc. If we look this from the OpenShot perspective, in the folder, you also have the link to the project. So, Alan, you were asking about this. You download OpenShot and you open this. You are in the video.
Okay.
You are in the video and you can change everything, every single slide, okay? And by changing the slide, I mean, you go back to the slides, you change them, you export every slide as an image with the same name, you copy and paste it into the folder that is inside here. These are all the PNG version of each slide.
Okay.
And they appear directly here,
in OpenShot.
updated. Okay. So this is very simple, all explained in the README file. So you are a reuser, Alan. You want to change me with you. You take me.
No, you're
and
perfect.
You cancel me. That's it. That's it. You take me out and you place your own video in the right place. That's it on you. Okay, very easy. And then you can also change the slides as slides, and everyone is familiar with slides, even if the LibreOffice might not be as commonly used as Google Slides or PowerPoint slides. It's slides. So once you dive a bit into the details, then you know what to do. And if you are not familiar,
sorry. Honestly, if someone says like, I really prefer PowerPoint, they can import, I believe, these file formats.
Yeah, they can save, export every single slide with a PNG format and use them here. We didn't want to require anyone behind our back to use any commercial software.
Fantastic.
That's the idea. So if you don't have any money to buy any fancy or expensive software, and your institution doesn't provide you with anything, you can still adapt everything for free with free software in editable format. That was the intention that we.
Well, I can tell you that somewhere in the South Island of New Zealand, a man named Wayne McIntosh is smiling behind the OER Foundation because he has been lobbying and urging more of us to do this, to do everything in open source tools. And we're seeing what it takes, but this is so well designed and structurally it works.
Well, actually, that's what we wanted to do. And how did we do it in the end? We went to Zenodo. Okay. It's one of the many repositories that can host your resources, okay? But we needed something that could support us with such a big weight, okay? Because the bytes here are so, I mean, if you look at the main
how much is it? Yeah.
It's like, this is the number, okay? Can you see it?
No.
It's so let me add it into the chat, okay? And the private chat, it's like this.
We're getting
the exact number is this, 2 kilobytes. Look at that. Okay. Yes. So this comes with challenges, I would say, also for reusers. And let me dive into this a bit. So we did it because I contacted Zenodo, which is based in Switzerland, curated by CERN. They have big capacity. It's open to anyone. You create your account and you have a guidance as a support, but you can also upload a large number of files. It's not yet ideal for a whole MOOC because, of course, it comes with challenges. You can upload lessons. So this comes in the format of a lesson. If you look at the top, it's like, because there was no option for whole course. Okay. Let's take this one step at a time. Let's do what we can with the tools that we have. Again, that was my approach here. So we uploaded.
Sorry, if typically Zenodo is used to publish papers, right? It's citable and all that, but this is really a unique use of the platform.
But there is no other, as far as we know, at least, there's no other repository where you can upload the technical side of the files. So Zenodo doesn't ask you any question about the content of your zipped file. That's what we did then. We kept the README file out so that you can also download it by itself. And of course, there's a preview that you can't remove, unfortunately. I'm so unhappy with it. But if you scroll down, you have the whole MOOC, which is, again, 13 gigabyte. And then you have the README. You can't change the preview also. I tried, but so far you can't change the preview because intentionally we would have previewed the README, right?
Right.
Instead of a list of files that is big. But still, we added to the description everything that guides reusers to understand if this resource is for them or not. The challenge, if we have reusers in mind, is that still they have to download a very big file that in a specific context where you have problems with connectivity can be challenging, okay?
Yeah.
So another option would be to divide into separate zip every week, okay? Why we choose not to? Because this way, when you download it, you have the structure already there. So you
Right.
have the structure that I shared before already. You can see it all. That's it. It's very simple. You don't have to rebuild. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I could say like what might be interesting to help people understand this process is if we like do something that's like a mini experience in like having the content in Zenodo, and could you, like you say, just as an example for people to work through, because this is a lot to take in, like 13 gigabytes. But if you could get people the experience of working with something that's just like a demo or something really simple, I think that'd be a really interesting resource to have too.
yes.
So they could understand and also appreciate that what it did to organize all of this.
Yeah, I have to say that without Luca, this wouldn't have been possible this way, because we've been working side by side all the time to create this folder with all the resources in the right position and very well organized to guide anyone to reuse. So I'm not a video editor myself, but actually through Luca's guidance, that's what I can do now with these resources. Okay, so suppose next year I want to update the MOOC videos and create not only new resources in the text format that I showed before, which is very simple, I can also edit the videos myself. This is not something that usually anyone can do. So I'm very happy about this.
Yes, and I know it's maybe Luca's video expertise is like it's not doesn't have everything that he knows he can do, but I'm saying in the timelines and the ability to layer and be able to do transitions, that the videos look very, very good.
Well, it's a very simple format compared. Sorry, I didn't. Okay. I didn't want you to hear again my voice twice. I just wanted to show you that where the video is still there, you can see me again, where the slides are empty. And here you see Creative Commons. Okay, so this is the slide that we showed you before. Again, very simple. The empty slide where only the video from Creative Commons is shown. And if I go, here is the same slide filled with the other video, okay? So I think that for users, this is it's simple enough to enable them and not to frighten them.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is the other side of it. Luca is, and all my colleagues actually, they are great at creating videos with all the kind of special effects that you can imagine, and even beyond that. So beauty is part of their goals when they work normally. In this case, we had to remove it almost completely because we were pointing to something different. So we did our best anyway, but still, of course, when we looked at these videos at the end, Luca, isn't that right? I mean, we had to say, okay, that's it, but still.
But let's be clear, what you've done here is a beautiful concept. And I can't say I've ever seen anything like this in terms of the way it's structured. Like, I just like when you start, like, how far is this from when you first started figuring this out? Like, were you drawing things on paper? Were you putting them on boards? Like, And so can you talk about like how this is like progressed from what your initial ideas were, if that's even possible to capture?
Luca, do you prefer to start from when I involved you, maybe?
Did you shake your head and say, "Oi"?
Otherwise, I can tell that story. You choose, Luca. Okay, I will tell that story then. So, but I would love you to come in, Luca. Okay, whenever you want, jump in and comment, please, because we had honestly to redesign the whole process. Okay. So one good thing that came out of this is that Luca and all the team of video makers now and video editors could benefit from the lessons that we learned, not only on the video part, but also more generally in about how to use the index of the MOOC, how to have all the resources available in separate files, because it enables different people to work on different files without jumping on each other in a better and more effective way. So this was a lesson that we learned that can be maybe beneficial for all, right, Luca?
Right. The collaboration is the another part. Collaboration discussion in all part of the project is very important for whole group work. This is a challenge. This work is a very challenge for a reason, but it's very wonderful opportunities and experience.
And I bet there was a lot of dynamic interchanges as you were discussing this, right?
Non ho sentito, scusa la domanda, è andato via un attimo l'audio.
Yeah, c'erano tante sfide mentre discutevamo. Yes, Alan, that's the point, because of course we had always to, I mean, it's not always like this. You are a team used to create MOOCs, okay? And you have a process in place. Then you have a completely different perspective. We want others to change our work. This is not usually what happens, okay? So if you change this perspective, it doesn't come like this, you know. Every time you have a new resource, you are used to be in your shoes. So if Luca is a video editor, he looked at the storyboards from the video editing perspective. Is this something that we can do? Yes. With our software, yes. Can we do it with OpenShot? Who knows? Let's try it. And then I want not to use any graphic effect, okay? Because graphic effects are challenging if you go in a slide, okay? And adapting a slide with animation is not something that is easy to then import in the video. So no, we are not doing that. Oh, that was hard to accept, right? Because it's part of the fastest part of making a video good enough and beautiful enough. Just applying an effect, just a click, and you give movement to the images in the video. All of these removed from the picture here. So yes, but once I have to say that once the team changed the perspective and their mindset was really focused on reusers, all the practical suggestions that came from Luca and also Luca Longa and also from Josué Suriano, who is the one who implemented then the MOOC in Moodle, all their suggestions were all focused on reusers. And they were so insightful that really this is the result of a team effort. I wouldn't be able to do anything like that by myself.
Wow, I have to say a hearty congratulations, especially for having you describe this project as it was being developed. And really, it's what I'm hearing is like the MOOC itself and the high-end video is not the end product. I mean, it's important, but it's not the end goal. And
No.
And so to make that the goal of the project from the beginning and carry that out is truly a fantastic accomplishment.
Thank you.
And now we have to inspire people to maybe want to remix.
Yes.
We're running out of time here. I know I had this wild idea that it might be interesting to get some people together to go through the MOOC together as a cohort, because you get more out of it by doing together. And we can talk about that. And we had a good conversation early on. And maybe you could reiterate what you said earlier before we went on the air when I put that idea out there.
Yeah, it would be great, and also it would be great for us to receive feedback, because that's the way that enables you to do better. And if there is an opportunity to update any content, it's always good to know that you can offer a better course. But then it would be also interesting to have a cohort of reusers, even better.
Yeah, so because no, go ahead.
No, just they can dive into it and say, okay, this is challenging, but still, where's the benefit? What can I do here? What is useful for my audience? Can I reduce the workload in order to make it sustainable first, so that I can pilot an action to experiment with these, and then maybe go back to it if I learn my lesson, and then I can speed up the process. It would be interesting to know that too.
And you brought up very importantly that, like, typically we might get the people who are already familiar with OERs and might have that interest to see, but what we'd really like is to find people who would be able to take this on and build something with it, who aren't OER experts per se. And maybe that's a class somewhere, maybe that's someone in the part of the world who really can say, like, I want to make this available, but make it customizable to my region. And so, but first of all, like a fantastic achievement again. This is incredibly, I've been saying it's open from the inside out and top to bottom. And really it's an inspirational project.
Thank you very much. We've been learning a lot from it, and we can learn more. Every time we use this as part of our blended courses, like the online materials available, and then in the classroom we have discussions either online or in presence about it. It's always a good way to also reuse the materials that anyone can do.
Okay, well, very fantastic. And I hope people watching or who may watch this recording really take some time to go visit the MOOC and look at all the materials in Zenodo, and to really like wrap their heads around this approach about creating a whole organized structure for the raw materials of the MOOC. It's as reusable as possible.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you for thank you both, Paula and Luca, for taking the time to be in this and come on like Alan's unplanned show and just talk. But this is the kind of excitement we want to hopefully generate for Open Education Week. And of course, there's so much happening next week that our heads are spinning, but in a good way.
Thank you, Alan, for having us. And thank you, Luca,
for
all the work that you did. Thank you.
Okay, we'll close out with our video, and then just thank you again and again. We'll be running at least 12 of these next week and more into the year. So we want to continue having these great discussions and looking inside open educational resources. Thank you, Luca.